Your video, you said, we don't need them, they need us. Who's they?
Yes.
Who's they?
The white people ultimately don't need other races in order to succeed, in order to be ourselves. Absolutely not.
So how do you think America became the greatest economic nation without...
Not through black people.
Oh, it wasn't? It wasn't because of free labor?
Are you talking about slavery?
No, I'm talking about slavery and also what happened after slavery, which Douglas Blackman talked about, slavery by another name. So I'm trying to understand, when you say didn't need it, how do you think America became the greatest economy that it did? How do you think that happened?
Through the genius of Europeans.
How was the genius of Europeans when the fact of the matter is it was actually King Cotton that supplied the economic means for America to do so? And that was a result of free labor from black people.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right, as you've seen from the preview, a white man is so disillusioned that he does not want to believe any other factual information other than the one he wants to be true. According to him, America has been built by white people alone, not just white people, but European Americans. To him, black people could leave America and America would be the greatest place on earth.
Right. And you know, guys, there is no worse thing than a man who refuses to be educated, because we do believe, yes, and we do know that someone might grow up believing a certain set of beliefs, but you have to, at some point after being grown up, you have to leave room for relearning and re-educating yourself, and not just being steadfast on this, the only thing that you believe to be true.
Right. The saddest part about it is that it's not that he does not know or he's living out of ignorance, but it's only because of his racism that he refuses to acknowledge the truth that without black people in America, America would not have been what it is right now, because it was because of free labor that we have the now America that they are enjoying.
Right. So in today's episode, guys, we're going to be listening to why some white people believe that America is what it is today in terms of development because of white America and white Americans alone. And they do believe that black Americans did not help build anything. And we're also going to be listening to black speakers today as they dispute these very same facts, guys. So let us know what you think about this episode down in the comment section. Also consider subscribing if you're new to our channel. Let's watch and then you come back and talk about it.
Your video, you said, we don't need them, they need us. Who's they?
Yes.
Who's they?
The white people ultimately don't need other races in order to succeed, in order to be ourselves. Absolutely not.
So how do you think America became the greatest economic nation without...
Not through black people.
Oh, it wasn't? It wasn't because of free labor?
Are you talking about slavery?
No, I'm talking about slavery and also what happened after slavery, which Douglas Blackman talked about, slavery by another name. So I'm trying to understand, when you say didn't need it, how do you think America became the greatest economy that it did? How do you think that happened?
Through the genius of Europeans.
How was the genius of Europeans when the fact of the matter is it was actually King Cotton that supplied the economic means for America to do so? And that was a result of free labor from black people.
Look, the whole point here is that who creates these systems? Who creates these business models and businesses?
Slavery was a business model?
Well, yes, it was a business model, yeah.
And was that one that you like or dislike?
I dislike.
You dislike?
Yeah, I absolutely reject it.
Okay,
yeah.
so but you deny the reality, though,
no,
that's what allowed America to become the economic power, because America supplied 91% of the world's cotton, and so as a result of that, that's how America was able to fund the Industrial Revolution. It was because of free labor from black people.
The Industrial Revolution originated in Britain, and it originated in the countryside of Britain, where there were absolutely no slaves.
I said the money generated from that. But I asked you again, okay? You said we don't need anybody else.
No.
But the reality is, American history proves you wrong. The fact of the matter is, there is no great America. You can't sit here and talk about that greatness without other people making that happen.
We could have figured out another way to pick cotton.
Who?
White people could have figured out another way to
Y'all tried that,
get
didn't
cotton.
work. Yeah, I mean,
we do it now. We've done it previously.
I don't know what books you read, but no, that's actually not what happened. But you said y'all would have figured it out, but you didn't.
Look, African slavery was an absolute disaster, socially and morally. I reject it. Okay? In terms of the 20th century, when America rose as a geopolitical power, when we had the greatest economy in the world and so on, that has nothing to do with slavery.
So you say we don't need anybody else. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, people of color not going anywhere. So what is your vision for America? That is white land and the rest of us can leave?
I think that white people, Europeans, formed the core of American identity.
So why don't you go back to Europe?
African Americans built capitalism in the same way that potatoes built McDonald's. The United States was 90+%, in my opinion, of course, white, almost for the totality of its existence. And you're going to tell me that this tiny group of people are the ones who made it great? Fuck off.
We never intended them to be anything other than a slave. But they began to grow in number and in power, and eventually they fought their way to some freedom. So we became even more cruel, and to keep our black Americans down, we limited, but yet they rose. So then we used the welfare system, the criminal justice system, to keep them down, to contain them, to destroy them, but yet they rose and they're rising. Then we built prisons and jails to hold them. Yet they rose.
Can you name one black invention?
In terms of nouns, like literal things such as the light bulb or electricity or the internet, I can't say I can give you one. In terms of adjectives, I could give you loud, I could give you obnoxious, I could give you incarcerated. You see what I'm saying?
Do you have any more? Maybe actions?
Overweight. The average black woman in America is obese. Overweight, there we go.
180 pounds, yeah. 180 pounds.
Oh, wow.
On average.
Oh my God, I thought it was 160. That was, 160 alone is obese, 180.
White people invented race to justify their oppression of the African people and their descendants, as well as to justify their mistreatment of the indigenous American tribes. So racism is always the aggressor. Race-based violence starts and ends with white people. Entirely different is bias. It's possible for a black person to be biased against a white person. It's defensive bias, though, because again, white people started and continued it to present day. So a black person not liking a white person or not trusting a white person on the basis that they're white is not racism. It's defensive bias based on 400 years of dehumanization and history and trauma that has not been atoned for. No reparations have been made. No apologies have been given by the majority of white people. Most white people will tell you, I didn't do it, so I'm not responsible. I've never been racist to a black person. Why do they hate me on the basis of my skin color? That's racist. No, that's smart. Every time black people have tried to create their own communities, white people have come in and ruined it and destroyed it. We've stolen everything they've ever tried to build for themselves.
White people have high IQ. We invented everything.
Asian people have higher IQ. So do Jews.
White people are, I think, different, it's fair to say.
How?
Well, everyone, there's a difference between, did you agree there's a difference between the races?
It depends on what you mean. Like melanin, yeah, sure.
So who has higher IQ, Africa or white Americans?
Typically, not just white Americans, all Americans have higher IQ. Do you know why?
Well, the black people here a lot of times are mixed, and then the weaker ones died for various reasons.
There's a study in Afghanistan. IQ in Afghanistan, when we started giving them nutrition and education, we would look at a mother who hadn't had nutrition and education versus when we started allowing, for the 20 years we were in Afghanistan, letting girls enter school and ensuring better nutrition. Guess how many IQ points on average the daughters had higher than their mothers?
Oh, if they're getting proper nutrition, I bet.
And education.
I don't know about educate, like...
the biggest predictor of later IQ is exposure to vocabulary early on.
Oh, okay. So you can raise your IQ if you're reading books when you're young.
Or talking to your kids lots. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. I still don't think you could give a 70 IQ a Somalian all the help in the world.
Have this superiority feeling when I tell you that a black person created the plasma transfusion, when I tell you that the supercomputer that led to the internet is invented by an African computer scientist. When I tell you, like last time, all the inventions, when you learn about the air conditioner and the radiator and, you learn about all the different science inventions that were invented by people that look like us. It wasn't you that started. You didn't invent the super soaker. It was a black dude that did, You didn't calculate the whole rocket ship stuff for NASA. It was some black women, of course, with the help of other people. But, you know, you didn't invent the remote control. A black dude did. I mean, you didn't invent the spatula. A black woman did. 3D imaging. A black woman did.
I've been a grown man for long enough to know that there's absolutely nothing a black person can teach me. I don't care to view history through your black lens. I don't care to be enlightened to your overly skewed, overly warped view of things like slavery, which is really just rooted in your need for an excuse. You know, the whole Anthony Johnson this, transatlantic slave trade that. I don't see what any of that has to do with how you are now. The whole like white people invented racism, it's just like it's so below me. All right, like, because when it comes to what we did invent, all right, we invented the railroad, we invented the internet, we're establishing the foundations of interplanetary travel. Like, I mean, it's just like white people, we have bigger fish to fry than to sit here and listen to how you think slavery is an adequate excuse as to why you can't be trusted with a self-checkout line.
No. White people as a collective group are insecure. You do not steal other people's culture if you are secure. You do not create a whole category of an identity to put yourself over another group of people if you are secure. You do not deport or kill other racial groups in order to maintain the integrity of yours if you are secure. You do not constantly try to separate yourself from the bad white people if you are secure. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because that insecurity manifests itself differently depending on what group of white people we are talking about, especially if we are talking about it on a political spectrum. On the right, it's pretty easy to tell where their insecurities are manifesting. We've talked about it extensively as a country. But on the left, I don't think we've explored that as much, and I want to point that out because I'm seeing it a lot right now. White people on the left side of things tend to hyperfixate on not appearing problematic. Because white people on the left side of things tend to have an awareness of the problematic nature of their history, they're more aware than the people on the right. So because of that, there's an understanding of the harm that has been caused. Because of that, if there's any issue where it could appear as if they are problematic, it sparks some level of insecurity, therefore a reaction that can either be compulsive or intentional. It is because of this that if there is a social justice issue that is getting a lot of public attention, and especially if it has a graphic nature to it, there are going to be white people that will not allow any nuance around understanding or reacting to that social justice issue. Because there is a hyperfixation and concern at a quote-unquote risk of appearing problematic in the response or their understanding to that issue. Now, there is a level of this that is understandable and appropriate because there are times where the nuance does not need to be brought in by white people because a lot of the times it's perpetuated by white people, the harm. But the issue comes in when you have a harm that is affecting people of color. Those people of color are trying to understand, unpack, and address it with some level of nuance that is needed in order to address something at a macro level. And you have white people that will not allow that to happen, even if they are not the ones being directly impacted by the harm. The development of whiteness is a fatal wound that white people have experienced and created for themselves. And it is something that I am very aware of when I talk about white people or the concept of like white supremacy especially. I always say that whiteness is the issue. It is what is problematic. It is what is a problem. And that is what we need to quote unquote get rid of, not white people. Those are two separate things. Whiteness is a concept, is a construct that was created in order to push other people down and put white people above other marginalized groups of people. But white people within themselves being born with paler skin than me and other people of color, that in and within itself is not problematic. And you need to separate the two in order to get out of this level of insecurity, this pervasive level of insecurity. But going back to culture, specifically when it comes to insecurity with white people, I personally strongly believe that is why stan culture is so incredibly strong with white people. It is because there is a hole left in place for white people because of the replacement of culture with the concept of whiteness. Whiteness does not give you any fulfillment. It does not do anything for you. It is not a connecting force other than a connection in putting other people below you, whether it's something you actively or subconsciously participate in. but fandoms give you something to collectively orient yourself around. It gives you a connection point. It is something that you can identify with outside of your whiteness. Because of this, that is why I do believe that the particular, what I like to call the doxing Swifties, not the normal ones, not the ones that have some ability to operate outside of this, but the doxing Swifties in particular, especially the white ones, are the ones that have a big problem with this. There are other things of this nature. It is not just Taylor Swift that has a fan group or a portion of her fan group that operate in this way. You could have that argument about Star Wars. You could have that argument about a lot of different cultural groups that come together based off of some level of some element of media or music or whatever. But I strongly believe that there is a fundamental wound that white people have experienced that leaves them susceptible to this kind of behavior and this blind spot that happens when you're not able to allow nuance because of this, again, risk or paranoia about appearing problematic. Again, I'm not saying that is something that is an issue all the time. In fact, a lot of times that caution is warranted. But at the same time, when you are having this caution in play, it is important that you are checking it when you are having it in relation to other people of color, especially Black people.
Most of the stuff y'all consume is Black American culture. Most of the stuff y'all see, hear, listen to, want to wear is Black American culture. Yet y'all give white people your flowers for what? What y'all giving white people your flowers for? I really don't understand it. Next time y'all say, I love the 90s style, I love the Y2K style, I love baggy clothes, Black American style. That's Black American culture. Next time y'all say, I love rock music, and y'all think of Elvis Presley. Rock music didn't start with Elvis Presley. Rock music started with Black Americans. Country music started with Black Americans. House music started with Black Americans. Techno is Black music. Hip hop is Black music. R&B is Black music. Blues, jazz, gospel is Black music. Everything that y'all consume, most of the stuff is Black music. People dress like Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish is dressed like TLC, The Brat, and MC Lights. But y'all don't know who that is, so the conversation doesn't even make sense. I'm so sick and tired of people thinking Black Americans don't have culture when they are the culture. Y'all love the gift and not the giver. Y'all love everything that Black people produce, but y'all don't like Black people. Y'all love everything that Black people give you, but you don't respect Black people. Y'all love everything that Black people, it only exists because of Black people. You only exist because of Black people. If it wasn't for a Black woman, y'all wouldn't even be here. Yet y'all want to hate on Black women. All of that shit don't make sense to me, bro.
Hey, man, I don't even gotta say nothing. We all know it's facts. The end.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about the videos we just played you. Yeah? It's quite obvious that the contributions Black Americans have made in the US in terms of economical contributions and inventions and many other things, social aspects, like for example, it was because of entertainment and the entertainment industry that Black Americans spread the knowledge about America, the rich culture that America had. I do remember a time when people knew America through the music they were consuming, the fashion they were seeing, the lifestyle they were seeing because of watching either Black American music and Black American movies.
Right, and I can remember very well the fashion that will never leave my head, no matter how old I grow, was of the group that was wearing their shirts back
crisscross.
Oh, they were crisscross. Yeah, those people, I don't know their name, but I will forever remember that image when they've posed like this and their shirts are at their back.
Me personally, I do remember 50 Cent, the white band, the way he used to dress. In Africa, people used to dress like that.
Some people still do, especially when you find adolescent boys.
Right. And the baggy jeans, the baggy shirts. So Black Americans did influence a lot of things, and they've contributed to a lot of positive image the world had for the US,
the American culture, right? And also another thing, going back to founding of America and all of that, before even this white immigrant European Americans went to America, they already found indigenous people living in America, and 100%. These indigenous people had their own way of living, and you cannot tell me in its totality that white America developed America without any know-how of the local people, right? Even the slavery and their techniques. most of this white America, some of them who are bringing the immigrants to America, they had traveled all over the world, not only in America. Some, of course, some went there with the technical know-how from Europe, but others were picking it along the way. Like, for example, when they came to Africa, kingdoms like the Mali kingdom, and some were picking it in South and Northern Asia, especially with Columbus. Columbus is the biggest deceiver of all of them.
Right. When it comes to bathing, they got the technique from Africans, right? From the
Not only Africans, but also black people all over the world.
From the moose, they were taught how to shower. They were taught how to live in a tidy setup. Like, for example,
because in Europe,
your animal.
Right, in Europe, they were living in a very stinky situation, very filthy situation, because most of them used to live with their goats and their animals inside one space until they came to Africa and other parts of the world and saw that people were living separate from their animals, right? And now when we go to America, when they brought black Americans or African slaves to America, because of forced labor, they hand in hand built America with slaves. It wasn't by their own power. And it was quite interesting when the speaker was interviewing the white man, and the white man just ignorantly said, but we could have found another way. If they could have found another way,
why did they have
exactly? And why did it go on for so long, up to a period of 400 years? Couldn't they find another good way in those 400 years? Then it means that their ingenuity to look for another way didn't manifest.
Right. And guys, let me tell you, there's nothing new under the sun. Meaning, people, when somebody gets born today, or when somebody learns a new thing today, that new thing they've learned, probably somebody else already
done.
Yeah, it has been done, and somebody else already learned about it in another time. So why am I saying this? There's a reason why these colonizers went into people's places and they decided to ban things and say the way you're living is not the proper way. Like, for example, traditional medicines were okay with everyone. That is how people survived, and I'm very sure people would still be okay up to today if they hadn't interfered with their system. But they had to interfere with these systems. Why? Because they wanted to make it a profitable business. So for you to turn around, you see how they steal ideas and then come out and say they were the true originators. For you to come back and say, it's illegal for you to use herbal medicine, and this is what you need to do instead. If you fall sick, you go to the hospital. They've turned it into a multi-million medicine industry, And so for him to come out and say, it's like when a white person comes out and says, without us, vaccines would not be there, But before you learned how to make those vaccines, where did you go to get the know-how? There were people who knew how to take care of those things,
Right.
So,
Right. And also another thing I wanted to bring light to is that this kind of situation, it reminds me, I don't know who was saying this was, but someone once said that the only thing that white America or white people all over the world really has surpassed black people with is being malicious and being conniving and being manipulative.
They're very creative in that
it's through their cunningness. That is how they usually get black people each and every time.
Right. And guys, when they
move with the calculations.
Right. When you talk about, I don't know, a lot of us have heard that saying, necessity is the mother of all inventions. And why am I saying this? Because black Americans had to invent things out of necessity because of how white Americans
the nature of their work.
Exactly, the nature of their works and how white Americans were treating them. So for you to sit down and talk about how white Americans are the only ones who built America, and you forget that you even have lights because of a black American inventor. You even have functioning traffic lights because a black person was behind the initial idea. You sit down and fail to do your research about the inventions that black people came up with in America. That is completely, it's not even ignorant, because you're an adult and you're very, very, at that age, I feel like you could be, let me not misquote his age, but at that age, you could sit down and do your own research and be educated about what you're talking about. But to go on national television and embarrass yourself just because you're racist and you don't want to accept that something good can come out of the black American community is truly sad.
Right, and at this point, I think it's fair to say, in as much as white people were responsible for where America is right now in terms of economy, it is also fair to say that it was with the help and by the help of Black American community.
And they gave up a lot, including sweat, tears, and blood,
and even their lives,
and their family members and their children, in order to build America into what it is right now.
Right, because guys, even in today's society, I might have an idea, but without the know-how or the physical labor, an idea will just remain that, an idea. But if Maren has the physical capability of making my idea come to light, then me and Maren are responsible for that idea growing, right? And this just goes to say that America wasn't built by just one race. It was built by white America. It was also built by Black Americans. It was also built by the indigenous Americans. So everybody had a hand in America being where it is right now.
Right. So I don't know how you can measure who did the most, but to say that white people are solely responsible, then that is just being foolish, honestly, you know.
Right. So guys, let us know what you think about this episode down on the comment section. Also consider subscribing if you're new to our channel, and we'll see you on our next episode. Thank you so much for watching.